Okay, so today we're going to be showing you 5 easy tricks that look hard or cool.
Sure.
So, how you carve, the first step to doing surfers is knowing how to carve. So the first step in carving is just lean forward if you want it to go this way, and bend your knees a little bit. But if you lean too much forward, then the board will just fall over. And if you want to lean back, just put your feet about right here. So the next step is knowing where to put your feet. You have to put it about on the nose, but you can't put it like too far back, or else because you don't want to kick on your way. But you also can't put it too like right there, or else it'll be hard to fully carve. So you have to put it just like about on the nose. And then for this foot, you can just put it a little bit behind the 2 nails or bolts.
So for the third step, I'm just going to practice the trick on flat ground, and I'll put some of the shots in slow motion. As you can see, I'm keeping my knees bent and keeping my skateboard kind of close to my hands because that will help you be more in control of the turning. You also want to have a good amount of speed because it looks cooler and it is much easier to turn and roll away. You also want to make sure your body and hands are moving with your legs and the skateboard. And you also just want to practice just putting your hands down and standing up, because if you have a lot of speed, it can be really scary to stand up and roll away. As your front foot is in the front pocket, make sure that you're lifting your foot up a little bit and pressing on the top of the board. So you want to keep your back foot on the tail and kind of shove your board around like if you're doing a power slide. As Mirabelle said before, you also don't want your wheels to leave the ground and like kick turn your way around. If you don't use your back foot to help you turn, then this will happen. Yeah.
It is important to notice how Sayla's hands are turning to the side and moving closer to the board as she turns before she stands up to not fall and be able to stand up and roll away.
So the foot placement of this trick isn't really that important, but when you're going up the ramp, you can just put your feet somewhere in the middle of the board. But when you do jump back on the board, you do want your feet to be a little bit more back, like if you're doing an ollie, because the ramp is going up.
So the next step is just practicing it on flat ground, like just practicing the jumping on. Jumping on and off the board can be scary. So first you have to make sure you're comfortable doing it on flat ground.
So for the third step, I'm just gonna practice doing it, but I'm going to jump off of the board while I'm still on the ground, and then my skateboard will ride up and then come down and then
I'll jump back on it if that makes any sense.
This is what I meant when I said that. You just want your board to ride up the ramp, and you want to jump off while you're still on the ground, and then as your board goes up and then comes back down on the ground, you jump back on. You also want to make sure that you're using a smaller ramp that can be less steep than what I was doing, like this, and definitely not a ramp like this.
So the fourth step is just, well, I'm going to do the trick, but I'm going to build my way up to it. Something really important to do is not jump in front of the board, because it'll be really hard to jump on backwards while the board is going down. You also can't jump too much behind, because it can be scary to jump on when it is pushed in front and going faster. So you want to make the jump off and on quick, which also makes the trick cooler. If you're struggling to ride down, then you can just practice riding up and riding back down. But if you don't want to what's it called?
Ride down fakie.
Yeah. You don't want to ride down fakie, then you can just ride up and kind of turn your way down and ride down normally.
No, I want to do it. And go.
Stop it. So the first step is just knowing where to put your feet. So you want to put one foot on the pocket of the nose, the front pocket, and the other foot should be about right in the middle.
No, let's first. So for the second step, I'm just going to practice popping the board and catching it. But if you don't want to pop the board, you don't have to. You can just grab onto it and drop it and jump back on.
When you are doing this trick, it is important to keep the board in front of you when you pop and not really far away from you, because that will make it easier to do the next step. You also want to make sure that you're getting a really big pop and jumping as soon as you pop, or else it'll be really hard to step off. Popping of the board in this trick can be really hard, but the more that you practice it, the more you'll get used to it. You want to practice this trick a couple of times in the grass if you're scared to do the movement, because it will build your confidence to do the real trick. You can also do the trick the other way, flicking your wrist backwards to make the board go the other way, like this. It is really important to master the wrist movement of this trick, because you don't want to end up throwing the board really far away from you and being unable to jump back on, but then you also don't want the board to be too close to your feet and it will end up hitting your feet.
And now, if you want, you can try the trick on the pavement, like this.
During this trick, when you do the pop, you kind of want your front foot to jump back and hit your front foot as you jump off, because that will make the pop much smoother and it will be easier to catch your board.
You can also try the trick on stair. Go. Or you can do it off of a kicker or a ramp. Fine, okay, I'll redo it. So the foot placement of this trick isn't that important, but you don't really want your back foot on the tail, because then as soon as you step off, it's just going to pop in the air like that. So yeah, just put your feet in the middle of the board. Yeah.
I'm not sure I said speed up. The next step is the practicing stepping off and grabbing on. So step off with your front foot, this one, and use the same hand you stepped off with to grab on. So, now practice doing it at the same time.
Okay, so for the third step, I'm just gonna practice doing the trick really slow. She's racing cars again.
You want to make sure that you're practicing moving your shoulders while you're doing this trick because you want to get the full 180 rotation of the board.
So the next step is just doing the trick.
Mirabelle is keeping her knee bent and keeping the board kind of close to her body. The rotation is really hard in this trick, probably the hardest part, but once you have done the rotation, the rest of the trick is just the landing and committing.
You can do this trick like anywhere. You can do it on a driveway, on a ramp. You can do it off of ledges, on stairs, yeah, anywhere you want.
You sort of want to move your foot in one spin with your shoulders, and you definitely don't want to end up like hopping because it looks really dumb, and then your foot just gets really tired.